got breaking news. breaking news coming to you live from Book Reef Supply BRS TV.
Oh, wow, man. That was great. What's up, YouTube? All right, breaking news. You're right. Breaking news.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not breaking news because it broke on Monday.
Yeah, it's true, man.
But there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of anticipation on this one, too.
Yeah.
So a little
Yeah.
early break, maybe. All right, so here's the deal, dude. I wrote down some notes here. So today, this is what you're going to see, is we collected 24 of your comments or questions from all over the internet.
24.
And we're going to answer them.
Screen caps, too, so you get to see yourself live in person.
Oh, yeah. We're going to hot call out the people that actually asked them, so it'll be fun. All right, and Randy is going to keep an eye out for questions here because I can barely read them. So he'll answer questions if you got good ones.
Dave's got it there.
That we haven't already or going to cover at some point in time in this thing. We'll call those things out.
There you go.
All right, but here's the biggest question, and I just kind of had to write it down because I just really wanted to make it succinct. But the biggest question is, why would BRS and Neptune merge or become like sister companies?
Big why. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's speculating a bunch of different stuff, but actually nobody's asked really that question. Why?
Why would you do that? Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good
one.
Like
people speculated like all these like finance questions and whatever. So I don't know. I'll just tell it to you. It's simple. We believe when a room full of reefers and a room full of engineers combined can achieve more together than apart. Right? When we realize that, it will mean more and better options for the community, and the net of helping others is almost always a good financial result. Although, proof will be in the pudding, right?
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. All right, so I wrote that down because I was just like, I really wanted to put it down in like a sentence that's easy to digest.
Well, you got the BRS camp, die hard for the reefer. You got that knife the other day that was Ryan fights for the people or something.
For the users.
And then die hard aquarium controllers, like gear junkies, want to automate everything, want to help you monitor your tank.
And the opposite. I don't want any of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so when you pair those into a room, then the desires of the people join with the desires of the gear, then the people that can actually make the stuff.
Okay.
Big awesome things.
I actually wanted to start off here just by mentioning Jake and the Reef Builders article, right? Yeah. And this one's kind of interesting because people have different takes on it, right? And he called me and we talked maybe, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes before he released that one.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he's just such an interesting, smart dude. And it was funny because a lot of people inside of these walls and Neptune's walls were like, oh, he's kind of harsh. And I didn't read it the first day because I didn't want to feel that.
Oh, the article, the Reef Breeders
And then I read it the next day and I'm like, this is not harsh. This is the way that it is.
Yeah.
Right? This is the stuff that people are thinking. Mm-hmm. This is the stuff that people are concerned or excited about.
Yeah.
And Jake in Reef Builders is the news source of our industry. He reported it accurately, I think. Despite what, everybody wants to hear rainbow and puppies, right?
Yeah.
Well, it isn't always rainbow and puppies.
I really like the thumbnail of the article too. That was cool.
Oh, I know. So everybody's like, did he have to do a nuclear bomb? Yeah,
it's a bomb drop.
This is a big thing.
It's not a mic drop, it's a big bomb drop.
Nothing really that interesting has happened this year, I don't think. If we're going to have a nuclear bomb this year, this is it. Big yes. So these are just a couple of things that he shared in there, and you're going to hear a lot the answers to all this stuff throughout, but I thought he really nailed it, man, which is the likelihood of new products, the likelihood of new resources to achieve that. Caution on how we will live in the new world with things like hydros and Profilux. Let's just talk about it out loud, man, because it's real. And will our reviews be independent? Can Randy and Ryan still be trusted? That's a great question.
That's a great question.
All right, Apex owners and fans likely have a lot to rejoice about, is what he said. Detractors will likely feel like the sky is falling.
Yes.
Definitely true.
I mean, it's
pricing's in question.
That is a really big one.
Yep. Answers coming up.
Cheaper, more expensive, same.
Both ends answer, actually. And then when he actually finished it up was, the answer will likely be a lot more nuanced than that. And the answers will be unfolded over the next year, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that if you went and read it, like, and you didn't have a dog in this fight, you'd say that, you know what, cautiously optimistic, also bringing out all of the legit ideas and concerns and excitement.
He brings out the end one. He brings up a really good point. Is what happens over the next year? Like there's as soon as the news dropped, everybody I'm sure there's people out there like go watch the site, refresh, make sure that the prices haven't changed. Go what products aren't going to be on BRS anymore, and like things are going to happen right now. But we really do got to give it a year. See if some of your questions and concerns actually came true. Revisit that thread on Reef to Reef a year from now and find out if all of those questions, concerns actually came true.
Actually,
yeah,
I want to schedule a live for 1 year from today.
We should do that,
right?
Yeah,
and come back to this one and see how much of this has come true. Because we're going to say a lot of things today.
Yeah,
and I'm willing to sign up for them.
Yeah.
I'm willing to sign up and be judged, and I'm also willing to sign up and out myself when I fail.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Let's do it in a year. We'll hit it. But 24 things today, starting with Dave, number one, maybe. So we're going to pull them up here one by one. I pulled these off of Reef to Reef. We pulled them off of
the
YouTube
your live stream with Terrence.
Yeah, we pulled out a bunch of different questions from various places, and I can't read that as part of the problem. So what will we do?
I think there you go.
There we go.
Make it bigger.
I will make it bigger. Okay, so it says here, how does this benefit the end user, and will there be fewer competitor options? Companies exist so long as customers. The answer was.
Yeah, so somebody had commented, it looks like SG Hera 64 made a comment on somebody else's post who was asking, well, how's this going to benefit the end user, and what happens when there's fewer competitors and fewer options? And he gave it a straight answer, which is actually really good, is companies exist because customers are willing to keep them alive.
I'll sign up for that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so that's the end of the story, right? So if we don't always keep this in mind, that the only reason we exist is because you guys choose to keep us in existence, we won't exist.
That's true, 100% true.
Yeah, and so I think you're going to see that throughout the day here, and in a lot of our conversations is how to keep that in mind with every action that you do, and if you do, you'll probably keep people's trust, and I don't know, we'll see. All right, so Randy, are you able to read this next one here?
I think I can.
All right, go for it.
Okay, I understand the... Oh no, we're gonna have to find a way.
Dave, are you able to make that window a little bit bigger for us?
There we go.
There you go.
I understand the motivation behind the merger, acquisition, or whatever, but frankly, it's going to be it's really hard to trust the videos from BRS in the same way I did before. Such an obvious conflict of interest, and I'm sad to see it's not addressed this was off of your and Terrence live stream. But we're addressing it now.
Addressed.
There you go. Call it Kevin Wolf. Thank you for that question.
So is there a conflict of interest, man? I don't know. It's like that bias question, whatever.
Yeah.
In reality is we're all biased. I like cheap stuff. I like expensive stuff. I like hard stuff. I like easy stuff. I like whatever. It's whatever I used and what I haven't used. Who knows? And the reality is I think, again, the proof will be in the pudding, not only what we do forward, but what history tells you about our behavior.
Right.
And the excitement on that front. So,
I mean, I can tell you 100% I am biased. And that's personally, I'm biased in that, from the beginning of time since I started reefing, I've been a Neptune user, so I'm biased to Neptune, and I bought in. I mean, I read their comprehensive manual before I owned the whole thing. I was so excited about it. I'm biased against, the pumps I choose. I'm biased against the lights I choose. I'm biased against, the return pumps or skimmers I choose. It's because it's worked for me in the past, and that's who I'm going to be biased to now. Since you and I are kind of up on screen a lot of those, what is Ryan and Randy's pick, or what is this? So a lot of that filters in there, but it's not always that, I don't think, when it comes to what we're talking about.
I would tell you, if you've been watching YouTube and us for a long time, you've seen my bias actually change over the years.
That's true.
Right?
Yep.
And so my bias in the beginning was I just want to get it done. You've seen all this DIY stuff, it's how to get it done. And then as time goes on, it's how do I get this done better, right? How do I get it done in a manner that's stable? How do I get a manner that like doesn't produce a 12-month tank but produces a 60-month tank?
Right.
You know, how do I do this in a way that like the ever level, like increasing levels of success? You know, like when just building a plan that only works for 24 months isn't really the type of success I'm looking for anymore, right? And so, I don't know. Andrew, my business partner, said this nicest thing he ever said to me in my whole life. And he says, Ryan, you are incapable of saying something you don't believe.
Yeah.
Right? And like, that's at times a pain in the ass, to be honest. But
sometimes it happens here in our own testing is, all right, if we test it, then we will know. And is that something we want to know? And we test it, and then we're like, there is no hiding this. Like, we will have to. I live life with knowing the results of this test and not sharing it with the world.
Good,
happens
bad,
all
whatever.
the time.
Hurts myself, hurts somebody who cares. You know, like you have to. The reefers deserve to know.
Yeah.
Right. So, the proof again will be in the pudding on like, can you trust Randy and Ryan? Will our opinions be influenced? And I think actually the onus is actually to do this better than ever to prove that that isn't the case.
Yeah.
And that like we're willing to sign up to meet that bar and be judged along it because like all of you guys are going to do that.
Yeah.
So
one of the biggest instances of changing biases over the years is, I mean, it's the acquisition of knowledge. As you and I test things, or as we learn more, like lighting was a big one over the last 2-3 years, where you're biased about a certain light, and then you realize, as we discover the scientific end of it, like what the actual animal needs and coral needs, and why this specific type of lighting is very specific to this type of coral, and we're providing better for the coral, I'll change my bias because now I'm more educated.
I'm gonna go all the way.
Yeah.
You guys ready? You're gonna hear this more than once today, maybe, I think. If it was required out of me to lie to do my job, I would quit.
Oh yeah. Oh, I couldn't do it. Nuh-uh.
I don't need money bad enough to betray people that believe in me.
Yeah.
So there you go. We'll sign up for that. Be judged by it. We'll review it in a year.
Ryan doesn't have a job. It's because he was forced to lie.
I guess. I don't know. You might hear that more than once today.
Yeah, I know.
Think about it. I don't know.
Next
one.
All right. Next one is from Reef to Reef. It says, all I can say is at the end of the day, BRS is a company. Companies buy and merge with other companies all the time. So to me, it doesn't matter. It only matters to the stockholders and the people who own BRS. At the end of the day, BRS only had to remember their brand means quality, and no matter how big they get, remember how small they once were and how they got to where they are today. All of the saltwater reefers out there who buy from them, remembering all the saltwater reefers who buy from them. They have great customer service, and I hope that they keep true to that. Congratulations on the merge.
You know, one of the pieces that I pulled this out is because, well, thank you very much. Because there's like a tone of positivity in this, right?
Right.
Is, Jeremy actually said to me the other day that 80% of human thought is negative, and almost all of it is reoccurring, right? And then I went researched that, and sure enough, every data point I could find reaffirmed that 80% of all of our thoughts, we fill void with negativity and fear.
I battle with that on a daily basis.
Right, and so I pulled this one up because I thought it was actually the opposite. I was like, who cares, man? BRS buys this thing, buys that thing, doesn't matter, because we've lived up to a certain standard, and there's reason to believe that they'll continue to live up that standard. If they don't, well, they'll probably lose all their customers because of all the things you said. I agree.
I mean, thank you. That was a good one.
Yes, next.
All right, what do we got? Another one from Reef to Reef. That's so cute. You guys still think Ryan and Andrew, and not Adam, is in control of BRS. Willing to bet Bertram's infusion was enough to gain operational control. One of these boys will happily exit soon, just saying.
All right, so here's you're getting the inner sanctum now, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I haven't had operational control of BRS in it's before I met my wife, so 7 years ago, right? I haven't had operational control in that long.
It was 51-49 split?
Yeah, prior to that, it was 51 me, Andrew 49. But right around that point, man, we had done so many awesome things together, me and Andrew, and he has done is the yin to the yang here, right? And I felt like it was disrespectful to not be true equals in this. And I approached him and said, I want to sell you 1% so that we are really that.
Yeah.
Right? So from that day on, like 7 years ago, Ryan no longer had operational control of this thing. It's been that way for a long time.
Partner.
And the way it really works here is we have like a room of people, man. We work on consensus, all of the directors.
Yes.
Right? And actually, we give Andrew kind of like the end say unless it's like catastrophically bad idea.
Right.
Okay, so New World, still not in control. But you know what? So like, here's the big piece. I already said it again. But this is when you will know when this is going bad. Like when you're like, oh man, like when like you know that you should hit the eject button because it's probably going to turn south right here because Ryan quits. Like I don't want to be part of that. So
yeah.
But right now, like that is not the case, man. It's actually better than ever. I get more excited to come to work every day because I think we're going to have more resources, do more great things for everyone.
Well, I mean, we've said this. You guys have heard this in live streams long ago and stuff. It's our job. Ryan's job as a visionary to come up with 100 ideas, 1,000 ideas. And it's the rest of the team's job to shoot them all down except for like that one or that two. Well, now we have Bertram, so now we have even a bigger pool of people that go, no, Ryan, bad idea, let's not do it.
Or you know what, dude? That one's a good one. You couldn't have funded it before, but now you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh, even better. Yeah.
So I will tell you, like anybody's worried about that stuff, you'll know when it goes south because I'll quit. So end of story. Next one.
Chloe from Reef to Reef. I understand why.
Oh, you got to start with I kind of hate this, right?
Oh, yeah, I see that there. Oh, I kind of hate this. I understand from a business standpoint, but long term, I think we'll see consumers getting hurt by this. BRS could end up being the exclusive retailer for Apex products going forward, and no one could stop them.
Untrue. I understand why everybody would believe that.
It would make in any other world where, I mean, you know, television, movies, or super large companies that kind of do these business ventures and whatnot. It's easy for my mind to go, oh, first thing they're going to do is shut everybody off from that product now that they own it or now that they've merged, and it just doesn't help anybody.
So if you're talking about like a really like ruthless entity, yeah, and you're talking about like a you know vulture type company that actually doesn't even know what's in its best interest, I agree. That's probably the path. And like there's a lot of those companies out there, so like I understand. I don't know. I had a call like the first day with Saltwater Aquarium Ken .com, and I'm like, dude, there's zero chance, man. You could expect this. In fact, you know, like there's questions like, well, what am I going to get adequate inventory? Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. So you know your whole Trident problem that took for years to get up, that just won't even happen anymore. Right. So you don't have to worry about inventory. It
benefits everybody. Oh, like local fish stores still going to get all their Apex products. You know.
The Sky thing is going to be, we're coming in late on this one, but you're going to run out of them, but it will not become the Trident thing that lasts years, right? So it is not in anybody's best interest to do that, and in the people that think that they do, just think differently than we do. I don't know.
I don't know if BRS has ever given an inkling that is the way we would behave if mergers were to happen.
I'll just say it, dude. Like, we don't need every single last dollar.
No.
Man, so
because most of the dollars go back into redoing other things.
I encourage everyone to be successful. Do it on their own merits, and we'll support it all the way. So, in fact, man, Ken at Solar Aquarium has been a huge advocate of Neptune over the years. Yeah. You're going to see it continue to pour back in his direction. Yeah. So I'll sign up for that as well.
Cool.
All right. Next one.
Good one. Highlighted one here from Little Beard says, my hope is that this move will make reefing more accessible to more people, which in turn could increase the amount of people in the hobby 100%, growing the size of the hobby.
This is a behind the scenes conversation, right? And so for those who don't know, like BRS started and we were like a pretty small entity, and Marine Depot was here, and then like eventually we doubled that, and then we tripled it. But like we never hurt Marine Depot; they were growing too.
Yeah.
Right. But like out of nowhere, we tripled it.
That's just growing the size of the pie.
And our goal was never like gobble people up. It was only focused on like I don't need anybody else's customer. I just need to take the ones that want to reach out to us and help them be more successful, because somebody that has a tank for 12 months and quits, dude, is a shame on us, because we didn't help you, right? If you get to 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, like not only are we helping you achieve your dreams, but you're helping achieve us because you bought some carbon along the way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that has always been our goal. Now though, like, our goal is really to share the hobby now with other people, build the community, make it bigger, make this like a real, like, sizable hobby that and gets investment like this, because you get new technology, and to be honest, the technology will either get better, in some cases it will get cheaper as more and more people use it.
True.
Like there's a different kind of ROI in a product that you can only sell 3,000 of versus if you can sell 30,000.
Oh, for sure.
Like there's just a different like scale to those things. Right?
And the bigger we grow the community and support each other, all these things that you guys, the innovation, and that's probably one of the biggest ones, the innovation that can come out of that, not just driving prices down because there's more people buying, but with more money to throw at hobby specific gear, you guys could see the evolution of all kinds of gear for the tanks that we've never even dreamed of. All those videos that you and I do of, man, we wish they'd make this, we wish they'd make this. Grow the hobby, and it becomes becomes possible.
So for me,
That's what I'm looking for.
let's rise all tides together.
Yeah.
Right? And so actually Saltwater Aquarium, Ken actually said the same thing to me. And Ken, by the way, is the owner over there.
Yeah.
He said, look, guys, I love everything you do, because you talk about protein skimmers, they sell more protein skimmers there.
Yeah.
You talk about chillers, we sell more chillers immediately. It's like one for one. And, I talked to Jeremy, and it was the same thing. He's like, you guys talk about coral amino, yeah, your sales go up on it, but it actually goes up way more at all of the stores. Right? And I'm like, wow, man. Like, hey, dude, like you don't need the whole nut, dude. So, like, if we can grow the whole thing, man, everybody gets to benefit. Like, if the size of this thing will make all of the stores, the people that own stores, more profitable than ever. It means everybody's kids are going to college. There's better steak on the table.
Yeah.
Like this is, I don't know. This is the part. My hope is the move will make reefing more accessible to people, which in turn increase the amount of people in the hobby. Mission accepted.
You see the bigger picture.
Okay, judge. I can't wait. I'm going to come back to this in a year. I'm super.
That one's going to be a good one.
I can't wait. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Next one.
Philly Reefer. My initial thoughts on this one: with the backing of BRS, Neptune can now produce more gears that they can't afford before. Hopefully, a mini dose, or of course, the Trident 2 TDS meters. I do wonder how BRS will market the other controllers, and I think that's a big point of this one too. But yes,
I think we'll have
both of those things.
So that first one, I've already had a conversation with
Yep.
the team on 10 of these different things.
Yes.
And like, how do we prioritize them? Let's get them going.
I remember, a few years ago, how hard it was to like convey why the reefers need this and why you guys, Neptune, should chase it down, and then it's just hard, like pulling teeth to try to get them to do something.
I'm going to tell you, there's like
There's a reason behind it.
There's a total difference between these two things.
Yeah.
Here's a good idea versus here's a good idea and the money to do it.
Totally
different things.
Totally different.
Totally different things. So I actually, those specific things even on there we've talked about already. I mean, it's only been a matter of, this is Monday, dude, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
So I don't know, very excited. What we'll do with the other controllers, man, is the same as ever. In fact, I feel like we need to up our game here and
showcase them.
Like, dude, because like you just have to prove that it's wrong.
Whoa.
So let's show the Hydrus more. Let's show the GHL more. Let's have Thomas and Jen and other people get some how-tos to how to use it. And like,
I don't know if it's so much that we need to prove them people wrong, but like you said, if our number one goal is to help reefers be more successful, and a reefer chooses a Profilux or a Hydros as that's my controller, it's on us to develop, the videos to teach you and help you figure out how to use the thing. And I just talked to Thomas before we came in here. I sent him a message because I think a few weeks ago I had sent him almost everything hydros that we have on the site, like every single piece of kit, and I said, all right, man, learn this through and through, and let's make a few videos about it. And he just messaged me back today, and he says he's a few weeks out from getting going on those because he's been on phone calls with Carlos over at Coral View and really learning the ins and outs of it. He will be the subject matter expert, and I would expect some videos coming out very shortly.
And the big question is, well, why would you do that?
Yeah, doesn't that hurt your Neptune sales?
Yeah, because we're not vulturistic, and it's just not in our DNA. And the reality is there isn't a right tool for every last person in every last case, right? So I can't be everything to everyone. Yeah. There are things that I use more than other things. There's things that I would use at this point, 15 years or into my reefing hobby that I wouldn't have. That'd be different than I'd use 2 years in, but
like what if we only did investigates on Kessel lights, and that's all you ever heard from us because we loved them so much, and you'll never hear anything about any other light or deep investigate. Who's going to go do all the same stuff that we do and have the resources to do it? Nobody. But we're going to do them all.
All right. So despite what people might think is obvious, it's not as obvious as that if you're thinking about the big picture and helping people be successful.
Yep.
If you're thinking about yourself and being greedy, then it gets obvious that direction. Judge us on that front. Go ahead.
All right, next one. Here we go. Dorindo says, if this gets us a Trident with nitrate and phosphate sooner, I'm totally in favor. I will have a problem if they cut out the other suppliers and monopolize the pricing.
All right, so the pricing piece is actually the one in here. There was lots of them. I just tried to find one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, lots of questions.
Okay,
pricing.
So will pricing go up? Answer yes. And this is how I know. Is because before we even completed the deal, the Neptune teams told us, hey, dude, shipping is going up. What used to be a $2,000 container is now $17,000. What used to be a $3 chip is now a $12 chip. Micro chips are getting super expensive if you can even find them. Resins and plastics are more everything, dude. My Pizza Hut is more expensive than it used to be.
Yeah,
You see it in every possible
My
place.
DoorDash is double the price.
Okay, so we talked about doing it beforehand, and even right now. So I don't know. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying this out loud or not. But the reality is I would be shocked if you didn't see a price increase to compensate for some of those things in the upcoming months.
Yep.
The beauty of it is most of this stuff is something that you buy once, so you can avoid that entirely if you wanted to.
We'll buy it right now.
So it doesn't have to affect you if you don't want it to. But I think you're going to see that with tons and tons of brands.
I don't know. It's not going to be just Neptune specific because everybody in the technology world of aquarium gear is feeling the same pressure. For overseas suppliers and trying to get microchips and plastics and all these other things.
You've seen some of the big brands
even outside of this industry though too.
Yeah, you saw it with the tariff stuff too, and
Yeah.
actually Neptune didn't raise prices for all the tariff increases, but you saw it in a lot of other brands.
That's true.
So I don't know, it is what it is. Will you see Muscle try to fight that? I don't think so, man. So in fact, myself, I am the biggest advocate of not raising dollars to the point that everybody here hates me about it.
Bob will come up to you and say, "Hey, we need to." Make a hike.
If you want, I will continue to fight upon your behalf. Because I always want to make it as affordable as we can, also marketable, and I'm terrified of price increases. I fight on your behalf every day on that. Next.
All right. Sigh. Really, BRS? Really? Shakes head, walks away. Wish you'd just stay small. I despise large businesses. They always lose touch with their customer base. I feel the same about big business myself too.
I raise your hand right now if you agree with this statement. Yeah.
Because there's for tenting and camping, there's a small company, the tent that I have in the back of my truck called Thule. They started out really, really small. Dave bought and then now they're big, they are Tepui, and now they're big and they're owned by Thule. And I was like, dang it, now I'm gonna go find a different tent manufacturer.
So I'll just say it like it is. We had, when we talked about bringing in some investors here at BRS, we looked at 60 different people. I listened to I gave 12 long pitches to a lot of people. And in the end, man, Andrew and I didn't pick the biggest bidder. We picked the people that understood our DNA and why we're successful here, and defend the people that work here and the people that depend on us, and most likely to produce a good outcome for the future.
Yep.
I believe the statement all the way that generally big business, the bigger it gets, the more it loses its DNA, the more it gets further from its customer. There are always exceptions to the rule, and I will strive and I work my ass off to make sure that that is not the case here.
Thinking as a reefer out there in the world.
Signed up, mission accepted. 12 months from now, we'll find out. All right.
All right. Little highlighted one from Bill DG. Here's the honest truth coming from a moderator over at Reef to Reef. It'll blow you. It will blow over, and most of us will forget this and move on. I will say, I said I would need to make some decisions, but I just watched a video from Bulk Reef Supply on UV sterilizers and flow rate. The truth is, I am happy with this particular merger. Not really, but as I'm trying to be an honest comparison between converting from a full Apex system to a GHL system, I've been buying stuff from BRS since I got into this hobby, and probably will continue to do so. You ask why? Because I feel they carry the best. I am looking at a Pentair UV sterilizer, which is rated amongst the best. National aquariums use them, so it must be for a reason. The fact is, BRS and their videos are priceless to every single reefer out there.
You know, this was, again, when the 20% of, instead of filling the void of knowledge with fear and negativity, like, you know, looking back at the history and painting what the future will likely look like. So I don't know, I just really appreciated that one, so I want to throw it in there. Because the journey, man, is like, it's kind of like Jake's article, man. It's all in there. It's not one way or another. It's more nuanced than that.
Yep. Good one. Sel from the forum says, it feels like some people think companies like Marine Depot and Neptune are much larger entities than they really are. Neptune has so much more R&D money now than they did last week. And BRS isn't going to stop selling competitor systems like Hydros because they still make a profit off the sales, and it would lose that profit to customers that don't want Neptune. It's true.
Yeah, so I read a lot of these comments, you know, because I actually know the answers to most of them.
Right.
And there's a lot of them that are like predicting the future and assembling the tea leaves, you know, trying to figure out what's going on. And some people just nail it. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that, like, it's exciting to see when people are as in tune with this and they really, really know, you know, what's going on.
Yeah.
And, like, part of it is actually, most people, like, how much money does somebody like Neptune have for R&D? Answer? I bet you not a single person in the audience has any idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the answer is more is better, because this is a super niche hobby, man.
Oh yeah.
Like,
the money's not pouring in from outside the reefing community.
No.
For this, not unless you're privately funded.
Yeah, like some people talk about this stuff like, oh man, it's expensive. Yeah, you know, like, you know, and the parts don't actually cost as much as this thing is, or, you know, an LED or whatever. But the reality is like, you know, there's 73 people that work there to make this happen. There's a huge facility there, and there's R&D making sure that it comes from an idea to something that actually benefit your life and be profitable.
And profitable so that they can make more stuff.
So they exist in the future.
Yeah.
Right? And like, so this one I was actually shocked with. Like, most people don't know this, but like most companies out there make about 10% after everything's said and done.
Like the restaurant business.
Yeah, like they're lucky, man.
Yeah.
10%, right? Some really good ones will make like 15, but after that, people actually say don't make more than that. You should lower the prices because you're leaving too much room for a competitor to come in and gobble it up. It's too attractive.
Yeah.
Like, so like, I don't know, they could lower the price of some of this stuff 10% and make zero, and then not exist eventually.
Right.
But like what you can kind of capture in here is like how little money and how effectively that money has to be used to develop the next thing.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I don't know. I just Sel really nailed it here. That was a good one.
Awesome. Jared says, big news, shocking. Can't wait to hear the go-to market messaging. I'm sure BRS, other suppliers are freaking out.
You know, it's funny that like some people have asked me that, they're like people freaking out. Like most of these people are my friends. And so
David,
I get phone calls from all of them congratulating me. You know, like they're really excited about the future, and most of them know full well I will do everything I can to help them be successful in the future as well.
Yeah.
So history says that.
It's interesting to peek behind the curtain and all of these. Well, what about other companies? And now what is this company going to do? And this company going to do? But you know, when I've sat in rooms with all of them, with you and all of us, and we just laughing, joking. You know, there's good relationships there. Yeah. It's not dog eat dog. It's like, well, what is Ecotech or CoralView or somebody going to do? Or just a bunch of fun guys hanging around.
I have not made like a moral standard or a living out of rolling over my friends. So they actually all called me and said thank you. Or they're excited about the future. So.
Casual Reef Keeping says, not quite sure how to feel. Part of me hates the whole big business conglomerate thing, which has its China cons for the consumer. But if there was a company I would think could use this to grow and benefit the consumer instead of money-hungry corporation, I think that it would be a BRS. If Ryan actually is honest and down to earth as he appears, this will work great for them and us.
Thank you for the support.
That's awesome.
Like, and you know, actually, not the support. Thank you for the cautious optimism in a world that doesn't always deliver on
80% negativity thoughts.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, hey, you know what? I read the tea leaves here, and I have more reason to believe than not.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate that one.
Awesome. Ryan S. says, neither success nor failure has existed without potential, and all you have, and all of you have a great deal of it. Here's to wishing you all the success and the continued ability to overcome failure.
You know what? The reason I put this one up here is because every great thing is just riddled with risk.
Yeah.
Right? And like, actually, a friend of mine told me early on that he read somewhere that every great entrepreneur is just a little bit crazy because no sane person would take the risks that you have to do to do this. And the reality is like, if you go read through the whole Reef to Reef thread, man, there's so many ways that people have called out how this could like not go the way that people expected or whatever, right? It's just like list after list after list after list. And so like success or failure doesn't exist without potential, and we have a bunch of it. So there's reasons to believe different ways, but man, like, I agree, man. There's potential here, and we're going to make the most of it.
Well, I think you know, some of the good examples of this one in all of the mistakes videos that we've done, some of the best content that as far as views and people watching that goes. But we even said at the end of when we did a wrap up of the ULM tanks, when we did a wrap up of like BRS WWC, when we did a wrap up of the 160, the message between all of these were tank builds that we were trying something new and we were trying to figure some new stuff out, and pioneers get shot in the back and there were failures.
Bullet holes everywhere.
Oh yeah, and it was hey man, we failed and here's how we failed, but you know what we learned on the other side? A whole lot more.
Honestly, dude, we can look back at this and like sometimes like nobody likes failing publicly, right? And most people just hide it.
Yeah.
But like I just look back at it and it's like, every great evolution of what we learned has been 70% of what we learned didn't work.
Yeah.
30% learned what did. And like part of making a compelling case of what did work is outing all of your shame and failure of the past and just be willing to share it publicly with people. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Tim says, I should probably finish listening to the whole thing that was yours and Terrence's live stream before I comment. But as much as I'd like to see these two companies, they are both too expensive on their own. And now that BRS is merging with all these other companies, I don't foresee anything getting cheaper. Yes, you all might come up with some cool products and fast, but that doesn't help me, or that doesn't help or mean anything to 90% of the reefers who can't afford it.
All right, so if you're looking for a $16 aquarium controller, we will never be able to help in that arena.
Nope.
Will you see us be able to help in an arena where we go from $800 controller all the way down to maybe less than 300, and then allow areas to grow out so it's no different than the 800 years from now after you bought, and like a path that makes it a lot more affordable over time. 100% guaranteed you will see this.
Yeah.
And you will see it faster than you think. And so I understand that thought process, man, because when you talk about $800 aquarium controllers,
It's a tough pill to swallow.
yeah, dude, but like, I don't know, you know, $300 controller isn't free either.
No.
But it's in a whole different class, and especially when you got, you know, as soon as you surpass $300 in coral and fish in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're like, you know what? And the other piece of it is that you know, raise your hand and accept. I'm Ryan, and I understand that every piece of gear on my aquarium is going to break in the next 5 years.
Every.
Some of it 3 times.
Every piece.
And I need to be concerned about that, or I'll kill everything in there. All right, like when you raise your hand and say that, all of a sudden the $300 on a monitor that tells you the moment that all this stuff broke. That's actually a value.
I buy car insurance because
I don't know.
get in a wreck.
So you will see
Yeah.
different things in different directions. I honestly hope that we go the other direction too. Like, you know, like I'm gonna make one up, but like, let's imagine there was a $3,000 controller out
Ooh,
there.
what would that look like?
What would it look like?
Wow.
I don't know. Let's push the bar. I don't know. Maybe
about
something cool.
Infinite-sized hammer.
So to be fair, that's
see.
never been discussed. But like, infinite size hammer.
It
Like,
provokes thought. Like, what would that look like?
what does the Ferrari look like?
Yeah.
You know?
What would you want in it?
I don't know.
That's
Let's
cool.
go both directions.
All right. We got one that says, you know what happens when there's no competition, monopoly, and prices rise.
You know, the monopoly piece thing it comes up a lot.
It does
right?
come up a lot.
Like, I think people forget that we're living in a world of 3,000 fish stores, in a world of Amazon, in a world of Chewy.
Other online retailers.
I mean, you could say that this is like, you know, one of the most popular controllers, but honestly, there's like a handful of other ones out there, you know, and like, I don't know, like other than that, like that's a really strong word. I like say
Very
that.
strong.
I don't even know how it could be really possible.
I don't.
Like I'm trying to think of like how you'd ever compete with Amazon and Chewy.
For this, there's always going to be products out there.
So I don't know, man. Like maybe, man. I can't imagine how that could ever possibly be. Well, who knows? I wouldn't be a big concern about this one, but you know, it's interesting to hear it. You know, kind of over and over.
Yeah.
Next one.
Curious what your questions were. Oh no, this was the bottom one.
Oh yeah.
They already favor certain brands, including Neptune. Not saying that's bad or otherwise.
Well, I thought that was interesting actually because it said not because most people would say you know they had bias or whatever, and then that's bad. They're actually saying I'm not saying that's bad. I'm actually open-minded about it. And this hits that conversation we had earlier. We probably don't need to dredge through again.
Right.
But like, dude, we all have bias. We have the bias in the thing that we bought that worked for us. We had a bias at like what I needed when I needed it to be cheap, what I needed when I just wanted the best, what I needed for an LPS tank, for an SPS tank, for a big tank, a small tank, like for the state of California where it's hot, or the state of Minnesota where it's cold. Like it's just all like there is a.
I think this entire hobby is littered with bias in that. You go in the forums, you go in the Facebook groups, and you ask for a piece of advice, and the advice you get is so fought hard, tooth and nail. This is the way you should do it. This is how it's supposed to be done, and because it was specific to that person, and the lack of a general consensus knowledge, like I have, I've seen people. What's the best light for LPS, and answers that hit the board are all over the place, but they defend it so hard because it worked for them, meaning they're biased.
There's lots of
But there's a lot of good options out there.
So I will tell you this. I'll just kind of wrap this question up here with, like, when you say we favor certain brands, I'm not going to say that we're perfect. But what I will say is I think we favor solutions that work for us.
Ah, true. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And like, there's not many people out here that like, we've got 50 aquariums just in the building here, much less all the ones we've maintained ourselves personally.
Right.
So, like, there's a lot of people here that have used a lot of things, and there are things that continually work better. There are things when I ask on the phones, you know, like, hey man, which of these 5 options do you never get a complaint about?
Right.
I favor that one.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If
And it's like when things intersect, like what's the thing that sells the most and simultaneously has the least complaints about it? You know, that one.
that one's special.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know, but there's always complaints about everything. And I will
Yes.
tell you, the more complex the product, like there's complaints about Neptune for sure. But I will tell you, the more complex the product, generally the more
complaints. Yeah.
But I don't know. So I'm willing to be judged on that one too. Is that, you know, sign up to always be better about it as well. We'll check in a year. Is favoring things that work, favoring solutions, products, brands that work the best for people that are trying to use them.
Well, and in the same breath, you know, fairly treating all of the other ones the same. And like lighting is probably our biggest example of this, where I'll tell we run, you know, the Sky, the Kessel, the you know, the Philips Coral Care, the Orphic, think of all the lights that we have. They go through the exact same testing procedure, and then we explain how we feel about them and where they're best used.
This is a really good example, actually. Couldn't get me to use an ATK, right? Auto top off from Neptune. And it's not that it doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't have a float valve and 2 sensors and time limiters and does a lot of unique stuff. None of that. It's the fact that after all these years, the oscillator always does the job for me. And I had a bunch of them that failed before on me, and it's just the one I'm going to use.
You can't change that.
Cannot change it. Couldn't pay me. My tank rests on this. My floors rest on this.
Yep.
And it's not that there aren't other options out there, but it's what everybody here uses, and like by far has the least complaints on it by anything. And it actually is the #1 selling auto top off that we have here, and also simultaneously has the least complaints. Couldn't get me to favor. I favor it. Admitted. Yeah, so, all right.
My initial reaction is awesome. BRS now has a manufacturer to do more R&D to products Ryan and Randy have discussed in their live streams. Who doesn't want to see a Neptune protein skimmer with a built-in CO2 scrubbing capabilities and DC controlled? In my eyes, I hope to see more innovation in the industry.
This is actually one that I desperately would love to see come to life, because
3/8-inch solenoid.
I don't know. I don't know how to drill this home enough because it just isn't working.
Yeah.
But like pH, there's a difference between everything doesn't immediately die and things grow, you know, 100 times faster, right? And exponentially. And the knowledge that we have about pH in the ocean versus the aquarium versus just, you know, how these things calcify, man, and why they need to get rid of the excess hydrogen. It's like super obvious. The BRS tests have shown it, the experiments have shown it, and yes, it can survive at 7.8, but it thrives at 8.3. And the only thing we need is a protein skimmer that is designed to turn on and off and suck, you know, CO2 scrubbed air into it, and preferably in a recirculating manner that doesn't make you burn through media and have to buy $10 worth of media a week. Instead, you're buying $10 media every 3 months.
This isn't just a let's make a skimmer to make a protein skimmer, or let's make a CO2 scrubber to make a CO2 scrubber. It's science-based decisions on why we would want this.
And there's no better way other than maybe Kalkwasser, which solves calcium alkalinity at the same time as this, and other things kind of like that.
Yeah.
But like you could peg the pH using the skimmer and CO2 media and never worry about it. It's like one of the only ways to it's like the only way I can think of to control the pH of the tank without affecting calcium and alkalinity or any other element of chemistry.
Yeah.
Independently pegging this one thing. And we're like, somebody just needs to make it.
Please.
And like, to be honest, dude, I'd love it if we collaborated with Neptune, our sister company now, to make this. But I'm not afraid to share it either and let Octopus make this thing. And I've actually shared this idea with Adaptive Reefs and Kyle's. Like, somebody make it because it'll be better for the universe, and we don't need to make every last dollar on it.
Yeah, we said we gave there was a whole live stream of you and I came up with $1 million ideas. Just
Share
make
'em.
it.
They're all yours. Do them. Do whatever you want.
Do it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Personally, not a huge fan of the merger because now they'll be. Personally, not a huge fan of the merger because now they'll be favoring one specific brand of products. Yes, they had BRS brand, but this is a whole suite of tech and components. Wow.
Actually, Jeremy called me up and he's like, he said this one. That's why I wanted to share it. Is because he's like, dude, don't people know that you've sold BRS chems like for ages? And at the same time, man, like this product is more, better, less all the way.
Right.
Like it's pharmaceutical grade, big old bag,
Yeah.
all this stuff. And yet you sing the praises of Red Sea all the time, Tropic Marin, all these things. Like you spent your whole life, man, telling about not just the things you do great. Like we sell Reef chili here, dude, but like it's not like you're getting Reef chili down your throat everywhere. The one thing that actually, this one's kind of interesting. Like one area where you never saw a lot of competition is reverse osmosis systems.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's because we've taken that like direct to consumer route and priced them accordingly.
Right.
And then bought all of the best filters and fittings and American fittings instead of the Asian ones. Like I don't want it to leak. All this stuff. And then even when I talk to the other RO guys, they're like, yeah, I could bring them in, dude, but they're going to sit next to this one. They look identical, and yours costs $100 more. Do you want them here?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was one area where, like, we do it so well, and because we buy so much of this stuff, that it's really hard. But the rest of it, like the chemicals and all this other stuff,
highlighted them all.
We've been practicing this muscle. We've been flexing it forever. Like, yeah, we do this one thing great, but look at all these other ones, too. Pick the right tool for the right job, and the things that work best for you.
Yeah, 100%.
So I don't know. I appreciate that they brought this up, and again, you look to history and you can predict the future.
I don't know if there's ever been one brand that we've only talked about and omitted the rest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Talked about them all.
No, I can't think of one.
Tim says I should probably finish listening before I comment. We
already did that one.
Yeah.
King
Tide Coral says this is going to be a great thing, especially if it can benefit us on the customer service side.
Okay.
This was one that was kind of thrown out there in the universe quite a bit.
I told actually the new Neptune team, we went to dinner the other night, and I told them originally our customer service was we didn't have a phone.
Right.
We couldn't afford a phone, man. We couldn't afford the people to answer the phone, and it was just kind of something that evolves over time.
Yeah.
I just need to keep the lights on, man. And so now, dude, there's a whole array. I don't even know. Must have 15 customer service agents, right? And Neptune has a whole slew as well. And so I will tell you. They have a complex product. It takes a lot of customer service time sometimes, to troubleshoot some oddball thing that might be happening.
Right.
This one, I can guarantee, is we're going to see more and more effort in just putting in that, kind of BRS can do, yes, always yes attitude. And you're going to see those two teams' approach to customer service meld in the DNA, man. We're going to continue always, man. And you think of the investment here, you think of it in R&D and new tridents, man. They can also be in so many other areas like this one as well.
Serves the customer above all else. It's one of our values.
There you go.
Core
Especially when hard.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially when hard.
All right.
All right. I'm down for a monitor only. Never been into a controller.
Done.
Okay.
Yeah, expect to see that.
Me too.
I mean, I don't know the exact date, dude, but this one
That one we
will
fought
happen
for a long time.
for sure.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed is what he said.
Well before my yearly comeback to this one. So done. Mission accomplished.
Awesome. Next one. I hope that you guys focus more on the rest of the world. I would love to see some new products available in New Zealand or other areas.
So for those who don't know, 40 or like 39% of people who watch BRS TV actually watch it around the globe.
Yeah,
Good amount of it is in English-speaking countries like Europe and Australia, but it's actually everywhere from Saudi Arabia to China to wherever.
Yes.
And so, yeah, we get a lot of calls, you know, to bring specifically the BRS quality chems and stuff to other countries. And, you know, I think that Neptune also gets a lot of calls to bring stuff to other countries, you know.
The energy bar, the new energy bar that they've finally got for UK and for, you know, Europe and whatnot. Long time coming.
Yeah, well, and so like the problem with that specific thing is everybody in the universe has a different plug in their country.
Oh, I know.
Right?
That's
and so
pretty tough.
All right, well, you know what? They're still building out, you know, their success in the United States. It's really hard to figure out how to do it globally. Not anymore. So I don't know. Will BRS kind of like ride the piggyback of the success maybe of you know, all the demand for Neptune? Maybe. Maybe it actually goes the other direction, all the demand for the chems. I don't know. But I think that this increases the likelihood that you'll see some of this stuff actually go out into the rest of the world.
Yeah, especially in a shorter timeline than what could have happened if they were still on their own.
I mean, it's been on our board for like a decade. It just never gets prioritized over the rest of the stuff that we're doing here. I don't know.
All right. Congratulations, BRS. I may be a bit behind here, but I was so happy to. Oh, so this wins the funny one. These two wins the funny one. This was the funniest one of the time, of the whole thread. A reply to a post in the Reef to Reef that says, "Congratulations, BRS. I may be a bit behind here, but I was so happy just to learn right now that Ryan Batchelor owns BRS. The guy is honest, loves reefing, and is highly intelligent. All things reef. He seems to be an amazing businessman too. Awesome. Very happy, Ryan. Ryan is quite the baller." The response is what's funny is, this is Ryan's mother, isn't it?
Okay, my ego was feeling like all the way until that moment.
I know, he was reading it on his computer, and I was like, no. The next response right after that's the best one.
Like, oh, why aren't there more of these?
This is
No, I'm
Ryan's
just kidding.
mom.
It wasn't my mom, but I mean, I don't even know if my mom loves me that much, actually. So that's awesome.
That was funny.
All right. I think there's one more.
Yep. All right, for every cherry-picked acquisition merger fail, there's a success story. BRS has earned the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion.
Whether we earned it or not, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the benefit of the doubt. All the things that we said today, we're going to document.
Yeah,
well,
come back in a
it'll
year.
be here forever, actually.
Yeah.
Until YouTube poofs out of existence. We'll come back next year and say done,
revisit.
not done, right?
Oh, yeah.
Could have done better. And generally in our company, what we look for is 80%.
Yeah.
So, like, will I hit 100% of those? Will Randy hit 100% of those? Probably not.
80% is good.
But 80%, man, is a high
Achievable.
bar. And I appreciate it, man, when people say they give us the benefit of doubt in a world where it might be hard to do.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
all right, brave new world coming forward, man. We got some big excitement about BRS TV next. Oh, we got some questions.
Yeah,
too.
we do. Just some quick ones. Does the acquisition mean? What does the acquisition mean for the Canadian market? I don't think there's a change there.
Zero.
Battle OCR for
thank you.
$5. Please add tabs or pages to Fusion. Control freaks need a better way to organize 200 items.
Message will be conveyed.
Glenn Rudolph for $5. Thank you, Glenn. Congrats on the merge. Definitely concerned about the bias as well as customer service falling off. Also, Mr. Chili is my 3-year-old's favorite cartoon. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Glenn.
Well,
All
mission
right.
accepted.
Yep. Last one we answered was, are we expanding internationally? We sure hope so.
Now we would do our best. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Awesome.
All right, big news, I think, maybe next week about BRS TV, actually.
Yeah. The
like,
future of BRS TV?
yeah, I don't know. How many videos can you expect from us? What can you expect from us? And will it change going forward? I don't know.
Next
Better,
week.
worse?
Let's find
I
out.
don't know. We'll find out next week.
All right, guys.
All right. See you